Hey, it's me, MLV. Here is Pool Chapter 34, and this one is titled Sullen. But what if they did sleep in the same bed? Jiro asked, playing devil's advocate with a devious grin. What if Aizawa and Miss Lin... Jiro! Yaoyorozu gasped with shock, covering her mouth with her hand. How could you say such things? Jiro shrugged, still watching you. She just seems a little more loved up than usual. She's got a glow, like she's got that post-sex glow. Yaoyorozu's face went bright red and a small squeak of embarrassment escaped her lips. How do you know this? The internet is a weird and wonderful place, Jiro replied as she reached for her earjack and twisted it around her finger idly. It's no secret. Look it up if you don't believe me. But Aizawa is unchanged, Yaoyorozu stammered, drawing Jiro's attention to the deadpan teacher who was keenly watching his students. Jiro hummed glumly. Yeah. Just then Aizawa looked over at you and jerked his head to the door to indicate for you to get moving, and you quickly followed through, speed walking to the door and out without another word. Yeah, okay, maybe I'm just thinking into it too much, Jiro said disappointedly. Aizawa looked back at his students, then glanced out the window to where you could be seen setting up, his eyes lingering on you for that little bit longer, and Jiro grinned mischievously again. Bingo, she uttered lowly. He never looks at anyone for longer than absolutely necessary, and right now, what Miss Lin is doing outside is not necessary, yet he's watching her. They totally did it last night. Jiro! Yaoyorozu gasped, her poor innocent heart being shocked once again. After the sparring session in the hall, Aizawa called the students outside to do their sprints. Miss Lin has set up the sprint track for you now, Aizawa announced. Line up single file. Person with the slowest time has to run the 5-mile track with a full backpack. Go! The students scrambled like mad to get in line and then start their sprints, with Aizawa being in charge of times and you watching each student run at his call, heavily distracted by Aizawa's voice shouting, Go! Every few minutes. I wonder if last night will be discussed, you thought, as your eyes travelled down Aizawa's side to his back. I know I said earlier that I don't care, but... Miss Lin, Aizawa addressed you, still watching his students. Go and see how lunch is coming along. Oh, sure, you stammered, turning swiftly and walking away. Did he feel me watching him? You wondered. Still deep in thought, you walked to the main kitchen to see how the chefs were going. Good afternoon, the second in charge greeted you, bowing deeply as you entered. Good afternoon, you said brightly with a polite bow. I came to see how things were going, regarding lunch. We are on time for lunch to be served at 1 p.m, he smiled and bowed again. Miss, I assume you are the assistant teacher? Yes, I am, you replied. I heard from our building staff that the cabin that you were in was damaged in the storm last night. My sincerest apologies, I'm glad you are okay. Were you injured at all? Oh, that's very kind of you to ask. I'm fine. Aizawa came to my rescue, you replied with a slightly enamoured sound in your voice. It is a good thing that he was there to rescue you. I agree. The head chef arrived at that point and bowed low, his undercut showing under his soft pink hair. Miss Lin, it's a pleasure to meet you. Young Yaoyorozu speaks most highly of you. Oh, of course, Yaoyorozu is a diligent and talented student. I have very high hopes for her future, you said with a smile. As promised, we'll have lunch on time, the chef continued, his amber yellow eyes giving you a soft look as he gave you a gorgeous, gentle smile. If there's anything that you would like to eat, then please do not hesitate to ask. I will see to it personally that it's made for you. Oh, thank you kindly, you said with a small hand wave of dismission. But please don't trouble yourself on my behalf, it's fine. Oh, but I do insist. Miss Lin, young Yaoyorozu would be most pleased if we treated you especially well. He's so insistent, you thought with a sweat-dropped smile. I guess it can't hurt to make a small request to get him off my back. You nodded to the chef and then conceded. Well, I am quite partial to this particular dessert. Oh, say no more, Miss Lin, the chef implored. I will see to it that you get your dessert. Oh, you really are so kind, you said sweetly. I didn't expect such hospitality, but I do appreciate your kind gesture. Oh, it's an absolute pleasure, the chef said, giving you a wink before bowing again. You made your excuse to leave, and then quickly exited and walked back out to where Aizawa and the students were finishing up their sprints. Lunch is coming along nicely, you reported to Aizawa, who nodded in reply, not even bothering to look at you. Feeling a little annoyed and hurt that he hadn't even so much as given you a proper look, you turned your attention back to the students and went to talk to those who had finished their run and were cooling down, giving some of them pointers on stretching and how to improve their recovery. Aizawa watched you again, his heart being torn in two different directions. I'm not saying last night was a mistake, because I very much liked Miss Yin, but how are we supposed to navigate this while maintaining a professional relationship? I don't know how to approach her about this. I don't even know if I'm ready for a relationship. Then the students had all finished, and they were lined up by Aizawa to hear the results, each one with some degree of fear on their faces, hoping they wouldn't be the slowest of the group. You all did mediocre, Aizawa announced loudly. Should make you all run. The students' sweat dropped and some hung their heads sullenly. But the weekend isn't over yet. I expect improvements, he said sternly. All students looked up at him and nodded vigorously, promising they would do better next time. Before anything else could be said, two of the wait staff arrived to announce lunch would be served. Please, the two women said kindly, follow us. Yaoyorozu looked like she was surrounded by sparkles, bouncing happily as she moved with the group towards the hall. She really thrives on doing things for others, you thought with amusement as you followed behind with a small smile on your face. Can we talk later? Aizawa suddenly asked from behind you, picking a lower tone so the students couldn't hear him. You jumped with surprise. Not gonna lie, for a few minutes I'd forgotten all about him. And there ends chapter 34. Stay tuned for chapter 35, coming tomorrow.